Howdy, folks. Woodrow Wells from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. For the uninitiated, here's how it works. I've just left the cinema, where I've seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. And this evening, we're here to talk to you about Due Date. Now, Due Date, synopsis. Robert Downey Jr. has a wife who is about to give birth and is going to make his way from Atlanta to Los Angeles so that he can be present for the birth of his child. However, he runs into Zach Galifianakis' character and hijinks ensue, making them have to take a cross-country road trip together. And that's pretty much all the synopsis that you need. Now, it seemed like, now when you serve up the setup of the film on a nice platter, it totally makes sense. Because you got Todd Phillips, the guy who brought you The Hangover, director. You got Robert Downey Jr., who is funny. I mean, he has had opportunities to be funny a lot in films where it wasn't straight comedies, unlike, you know, if you go to like Tropic Thunder, where he's just flat out hilarious through and through, even in the commentary. So we know Downey can be funny. We know Zach Galifianakis can be funny. We know Downey can play a great straight man against, you know, somebody like Zach Galifianakis. So you've got the whole odd couple setup thing going on. Like I said, you got Todd Phillips in the director's chair. Everything looks good. Trailer looks good. You've got, you know Jamie Foxx is making a cameo. Other folks are making a cameo. Making their cameos, not like one big cameo together. So all the pieces are there. The problem is this. The problem is the material's not there. And by that I mean, it's almost like they said, I know, let's create a great setup for a mismatched buddy road comedy thing. And that was about all the thought that went into it. It's almost like they expected, the actors to bring everything to the party. Because Downey is pretty much solid all the way through it because he is Robert Downey Jr. And not to take anything away from Zach Galifianakis because, as you know, I like Zach Galifianakis. We just reviewed him in kind of a funny story. So we know he's got good stuff. Part of the problem is he's playing just a variation on the same character that he had in The Hangover. Okay? And his best moments in this film come from the dramatic moments that he has where it actually feels like he's, acting and doing something other than just trying to be funny with unfunny material. And part of the problem is that the dramatic moments in this are so very mismatched with the rest of the film that you don't want them to be there. You would like to be laughing through the film because it's supposed to be a comedy. But the problem is that you've got these two guys who are good actors playing characters that have no material to back them up, and as a result, you just want, them both to drive off the side of a cliff or something, because they're just very unlikable people. And part of that is, part of the way that a film like this works is you have unlikable people that do unlikable things, but somehow through the course of the film, you grow to love them anyway, or at least tolerate them, and, you feel turned around by the end of it, and the characters are turned around, and everything feels like it makes sense. I have to put my hands, I can't do this and put my hands on the wheel at the same time. It's the glory of doing these things. But my point being is that they don't do any of that. That whole thing, whatever this is that I'm doing with my hands, is not happening. There's no reason to like these people. There's no reason for them to want to like each other than, it's that sort of film, so you're sort of expecting that to happen in a way that makes sense. It doesn't. I'm still doing this. I don't even know why. But none of that happens. So, like I said, it's like the two of them were just set adrift on their own in a very unfunny, very large lake. And that's pretty much it. I mean, sadly, there's not much going on. Now, that's not to say there's not funny moments. When there's other people to come in to kind of relieve the tension of these two poor actors left to fend for themselves, like Jamie Foxx coming in, or even to some degree, Juliette Lewis coming in, then that's good. But that doesn't happen a lot, and as a result, it's just put on the backs of these poor two guys. So that's the long and short of it. It's just not funny. It's almost like they said, well, we need to do something after The Hangover. What about this? So, big disappointment. Should you see it? No, not really. I mean, I think if you... it's one of those things we used to say wait for cable because we figured you could see it without actually spending any money to see it other than the money that you already paid to get cable. But since a lot of people either don't have cable or don't watch cable for movies anymore and have Netflix, I would say if you've exhausted your Netflix queue, and many of you have, I know you because I've talked to you, if you've exhausted your Netflix queue, when this comes around, sure, why not? You're already spending the $9 or whatever ridiculously small amount a month it is to get Netflix, so go for it, sure. I mean, Downey is good because he's Downey, and Zach Galifianakis, like I said, has moments, but that's about all he's got. Cup-wise, I would say it's a solid 1.5 out of 5. Simply because it started off at about 2.5, didn't do anything to increase itself, and then sort of just slid downhill because it couldn't keep up any momentum whatsoever. And in fact, at one point, I actually got on my phone and checked to see what the running time was because I was ready for it to be done, and it already felt like I'd been there for a couple of hours. So, I would say, like I said, avoid it until you can't anymore, and then do the best you can. And I don't know. Some of you may like it, but my only thing is be careful of judging the film by its trailer, because the trailer is pretty much about all the funny stuff that you're going to get. That's depressing to have to say. I really wanted to like this film. But we soldier on as best we can as we enter into the holiday season. So that's it. That's it for Due Date. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps you out. I hope this is informative in some way or form or fashion, and perhaps mildly entertaining. I will simply remind you that we've got social buttons that will enable you to, if you do like this and want to share it with others and spread the word, you can tweet this, Facebook it, Google buzz it, whatever it is you feel like doing to it. Fold, spindle, mutilate it, be our guest. And as always, we appreciate your support on needcoffee.com. So we will see you on the site. Bye.